We'll talk about it. But before that, I wanted to say a few things before we start the video. Okay, last video I made was about 6 days ago, or probably almost a week ago. It was about the video about Johnny Somali thing, which got almost about 496 views. And for some people, that's not a lot of views there compared to my other short that was also 496 views. But to me, that is a lot of people. 500 people, I can easily start like an entire company of soldiers to, work for me. What I'm trying to say is thank you for the people who's been watching my videos. And by the end of this video, this video is probably gonna get 500 views, which is crazy. It's my first ever half a thousand views for that. So let's just celebrate the small victories and let's see what happens in the future. I just wanted to say for the people who commented also, great support. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for all your support. Making these videos were pretty fun, and I hope I can keep continuing my streak of 3 videos or 4 videos a week. Alright, now that's done, let's talk about... Pretty clever what I did there, eh? Yeah, okay, anyways. So yeah, we're talking about Invincible Season 3. And I wanted to talk about Invincible Season 1 and 2, but I didn't realize that's too far, and I've watched the entirety of Season 1 and Season 2 of Invincible, and now Season 3. Because since Invincible Season 3 is now peak, it's peak, bro. Now, there are some bad things I wanted to say, which is also, the things are pretty obvious. So we're trying to talk about the bad stuff, and then we're talking about the good stuff, and then we're going to talk about parts of the good stuff. Luckily, there's only 8 episodes of Invincible Season 3, about Season 3. Today, we're gonna discuss that, about what I'm saying. So, Invincible Season 3, is there any bad about it? No, not really, but there is one thing that everybody keeps saying that, oh, it's actually good, it's the animation. Okay, guys, I know there a lot of people see in their social media, mostly not in Twitter, because I don't look at Twitter. I just look at reviews at some point in Rotten Tomatoes or in random review websites, and people say, no, wait, guys, the animation is peak. Trust me. You see, it's so great. It's animation. It's like a comic book and stuff. They do stop motion and stuff. Yeah, we get it. I understand, but the animation, I wouldn't say is bad. I would say it was not good, and it could have been really great. It can get me to the characters and emotions really great with all the effects they have in the backgrounds and everything. I'm just saying is the animation, it could have been better. It could have been better if Amazon wasn't that greedy. Invincible would have been really great if it wasn't for Jeff Bezos using all this money for, I don't know, for space rocket wiener. I don't want that, okay? I think Invincible deserves better animation than ever because the stories and everything, the characters, the plot, and mostly the entire thing and all the characters, I really like them all, and I pretty love the world building. The animation is the most problematic thing in the Invincible. So compared to The Voice, which is almost like $30 or $40 million for every episode, instead of Invincible, only $2 million or $3 million for the animation. You might think like the average Joe like you and me, well, that's a lot of money. But those money belongs to the people who actually deserve it, like the animators, the script writers, and the board directors, and everyone who's in on everything on Invincible, including the voice actors. Mostly the voice actors are getting paid. But those money deserves to the animators who's working hard and like every day, trying to work their butt off to make good animation. I'm saying this because, my sibling, he loves to animate, sort of animate, and I have to respect animators that much, because they deserve it. They're the one who started the whole thing, also the board directors, the script writers, and everything. Oh, they did follow the comics, but yeah, you know what I mean. To show you how bad it's gone from the animations, since Season 1 to Season 2, let's say this is the background, and you see there's towers, and this is the character. And all they did for like one scene is they move him, or if he wants to levitate, he could just, boom, there, just edit it right there. And I wouldn't say that the animators are lazy. No, they just didn't have enough time and also the budget. Unlike, let's say, Mappa Studios, they will work hard for the animation, and they make so much good detail. But unlike Mappa, but unlike the Invincible animators, Mappa animators don't have their families being held hostage by the Mappa studio. The animation goes mostly to the ending of it. Yeah, because all of the ending of the Invincible, like episode 7 about the Invincible Wars and Conquest. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention you. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Do not watch this video if you haven't watched Invincible season 3. You're gonna be mad at me for absolutely no reason. I'm sorry to not tell you early, so I guess I guess it's also my fault. But what I'm hoping for the future is I hope the animators get a lot more money and a lot more time. Even though Amazon is a super mean butthead that would not give them enough more money to animate this. So yeah, that's basically the good thing. I love Invincible. Okay, ever since James Jonah Johnson told Mark to think and showing his cake, I've been loving it so much. Season 2 was not pretty the weakest. I guess yeah, season 2 was the weakest of all the season 1 and season 3. I guess season 3 is better than season 1 and then season 2. Season 2 wasn't bad, but I guess season 3 had more hype than it's season 2. Another example of the animation is I guess you could say Mark's mom, Debbie, and then there's this scene where the there's a kid and there's her parents are Indian. They just made an Indian filter on Debbie, and what it got. I don't have to show you that. Just imagine Debbie a bit darker and has the spot of chocolate spot here and wearing Indian clothes. And also not that I see some Mark and Debbie in the background as background people. Sorry for the sudden change of scenery. At least I got a good chair now. There's someone doing karaoke and he would not listen if I tell him I make the video and said I will be doing it. Anybody be silent. We're now skipping away from all the bad. Now let's continue on with the good. Everything is good. The writings, the characters, the plots, and everything. So to tell you about this, in the first beginning of the episode, there wasn't really anything special. But now there's a conflict between Cecil and Mark. There's a lot of talk about people saying Cecil is in the wrong here. And for the people who said that, come on, wake up, dude. Okay, we understand that Cecil may have done some shady things, like bringing back Darkwing, spoilers alert, I think I said spoiler alert really early, Darkwing and the Reanimators, like what's his name again? Yes, they were evil, but in desperate times, you're gonna have to call it. And Darkwing was a person who was lost, and Mark that really didn't trust him because he was a criminal. But then again, Mark was also innocent, but it doesn't mean that he has to realize that he's not the only weapon that Cecil has. Yes, even though Cecil admits that he's going to use people as weapons, just like how Oliver was going to be a weapon for Cecil because there's no one to defend Earth because Mark is the only Viltrumite, and they don't have any weapons to defeat Viltrumite other than Mark. So I wouldn't say he was an unnecessary evil, but I think Cecil was a good leader who was willing to not doing some shady stuff, willing to do anything to save more lives. It was in fact Cecil's decision that makes everyone alive, and less lives are counted. So in the Invincible War on episode 7, if Cecil didn't reanimate those people, if Cecil didn't, make that thing where Mark blows up his head or something and didn't reanimate those old monsters of the dead thing, a lot of people would have died more. Okay, a lot of Invincibles would have been destroying almost everything in the major global world. But until the final episode when Conquest was defeated and he was put in some sort of giant metal dome where we don't know he doesn't know if Conquest is dead and he wants answers, so he contains him in something. Even if he's alive and stop breathing, I would think that was a really great decision for Cecil. I think he would just tell, hey, Invincible, if he's still breathing, I think you should just chop off his head and squish his heart. Mark did also grow up too, starting with him dating with Amber, and then in the end realizing that sometimes people will come after you and you need to kill them. A wise Lego ghost ninja once told me, "You can only save those who want to be saved." And just like Angstrom Levy in the episode 8, where he won't stop and keep hurting people and he keeps framing him, even though he was beat up to a pulp during season 2, he still wants to come after him, even though Mark is the good guy, and Angstrom literally hired evil Invincibles to defeat good Invincible, which makes no sense, but it does make sense for him because he's the villain. He's got mad. He thinks the good Mark is not good at all. He suffered so many, and he literally calls the evil Marks together, even though that's the evil Marks that caused him pain. It really boils down to the concept of should we unalive people if we needed to, and are all lives matter, and should we? It's a really great concept of talking about who needs to be stopped if they want to be stopped. Who needs to stop until they realize they're in the bad. Just like how Darkwing is with Cecil and with the reanimation things. That's okay. I like that. Now, what better way to conflict this whole method of who should be unalive with for Mark, other than his little brother, than little Oliver Grayson. Now, I like Oliver. He's funny. He's a bit adorable. Like he's like average little siblings. You can't. Sometimes he does stuff, and then he did this. He didn't promise, and he's just like a little kid here, and he was okay. But the fact that he's always in the side of his dad, like maybe my dad wasn't so. Maybe he killed those people, and maybe he could be, maybe he could be promised. Maybe we could be saved and stuff. And I understand, like, yeah, it's a dad and a son defending his dad. It looks pretty obvious. But he also has the things of, let's kill people. Let's do it because, I just don't like them because they're also dangerous and we can't get rid of them. Now, this all changed after he killed both of the Muller twins, and Cecil pretty thinks like, hey, it's pretty useless. I don't know why he killed the Muller twins, or maybe because of rage, which is crazy. And I hope he realized that Mark can give him a bit of sense that maybe, there are some people who do deserve it and some people who don't. And I like how Oliver is sometimes right and sometimes wrong. This is a great conflict resolution for both of them, and realizing, hey, maybe we should we think about this. Oliver should realize, hey, maybe taking someone else's life is not that good, and maybe Mark said maybe dangerous people had to be put down just in case. Now for like Adam, Eve, I think she also has a good thing too. From starting after the whole Mark and dating situation, everything seems fine. I guess they started dating. It's not a big deal, and there's some scenes you definitely for the 18+ people. I like how their parents never changed except for her mom. I like how her mom is the first person who actually understands Mark and what he's doing. He tries to talk to him because he knows he's close to them. And his dad is just really mad for some reason. I always have a problem with Eve's parents because I don't understand his dad for maybe he has some kind of complex that he's not a man of the house or he can't control Eve or anything. And I have no idea. Also, there's so many things about it, but I also like how Rex was involved with this. So Rex was basically season 1 and season 2 was a massive douche butt. Yes, I said it. Yeah, so what, YouTube? Now, Rex did have some really good character development from season 1 to season 2. Now, season 3 also made him, a little bit better, but you still got that Rex in him. And then there's also the part, spoiler alert, when the Invincible War starts, boom, he dies, and then Robot, who has, is Rex, this DNA, he changes his name as Rex, which you didn't know is the reason why in season 2, the other 30 years older Guardians of the Globe that come to save Mark from the different dimension, saved Mark. They were 30 years old, and then when Rex opened Robot, the people think that Robot died, but no, that was just is robot. He just, he's got older because he has Rex's DNA. I mean, he's literally Rex. Her whole relations with the shrinking girl was pretty cute, I guess. There's so many things that happen in the background, such as, like, the Immortal becoming a tyrant after 10 years of Invincible left. What happened, and nobody knows, but the Immortal can't take so many else, man. He's been chopped up and so many times, I don't know how. But then he eventually quits the Guardians of the Globe and gets, wants to start a family with the girl who multiples, who also has a brother named Multi-Paul, who also works with this dragon. There's so many subplots, like somewhat like the big mafia guy who's Titan, who wants to break out of prison and wants to protect his daughter. That's pretty cute and pretty sweet, I guess. And then the ending, there's also a lot of stuff. And there's the scene where Alan and Nolan try to escape. I love how Nolan becomes more, a bit better. And since Alan was over there, and Battle Beast was also there. I really like Battle Beast. You guys gotta see Battle Beast. I don't know any other heroes I can tell, but not done with the heroes and their stories and plots. That also another thing to the plot, they're less than filthy pure Viltrumites because they couldn't stop reprocreating they're just procreating with other species. Okay, I guess that's a good plot thing, and I can't wait for Alan to work together with Nolan and meet with the Optimus Prime Viltrumite. That will be pretty amazing because I really love stories and plots. Now enough for the heroes. Let's talk about the villains. Some of these villains don't really shine. Cecil's not a villain, I can tell you that. Angstrom Levy was the villain. He was alive and he got super armed, and then he called the marks. But despite all of the other dimension marks, I really want to talk about this underrated villain because not really underrated, but people talk less about him. Powerplex or Powerplex. Now, I really love Powerplex because he was, first of all, he's voiced by Aaron Paul, aka Jesse from Breaking Bad. And they did such a good thing with this character. I really love it. They did such a good writing with Powerplex. Now, this is something I won't spoil you because Powerplex has a really complicated backstory, but he's also somewhat of a messed up person who blames Invincible for everything during season 1, and he's just such a good character. I really almost feel bad for him for what he did during the ending of this episode and what happened to him. He could have been a good person, and it was just a really lost, a character that was really meant for a trauma dumping and stuff. And I can't tell you, oh my gosh, who his wife and kids are. Spoilers who haven't watched Breaking Bad. So his whole character is basically, he can't keep getting away with this. You can't keep getting away with this. Can't wait to see Bryan Cranston or whoever who's playing Walter White in The Invincible. They're just collecting a lot of famous guys in here. James Joe Jonathan, Aaron Paul, the guy who voiced Sonic. Now, I don't have much to say about the alternate version marks. I guess I really like some of their personalities because that just makes it more different for them. I just love seeing different types of marks and how they look like and how they have really different backstories and how could this comic have gone to and how they made, how a different story would be if we see every individual evil marks. One of my favorites is Mohawk Mark, but also I'm really frightened when I see Omni Mark, which is the most craziest mark I probably see. He literally talks, walks, and basically is invincible, but also he literally is Omni-Man. He's literally following his father's steps, which is pretty cool to see. There's also another Viltrumite Mark who was in prison. I really like to know the backstories, but that wouldn't be, would be an interesting thing to anyone who's reading for the main plot. But the important thing is they're pretty cool. Now let's talk about the main villain because this video is about a bit longer before this, might run out of RAM. I think it's one of the greatest villains ever. Not greatest villains ever, but one of the greatest villains during this season. Conquest. This is an absolute unit of a Viltrumite. He looks and is walks or whatever Viltrumite does. He's the most menacing villain in here during the final season, and he came after the Invincible War ended for just about 3 days after. Not only the fight of Conquest was so great, and especially there's a one where he literally did what his dad did to Invincible, where he just pushes him to a bunch of people. He's so powerful, not just because he was really strong. Did you know that? Also, did you know that he is actually one of the strongest Viltrumites there? But also another thing about this, because he's the strongest Viltrumite, he's also the most tragic Viltrumite according to like Viltrumite lore or Viltrumite story, because he is supposed to be like a person who's like the emo version of the kid in school. Nobody likes him because he was too scary. He was too deranged like that. He did this lonely speech with Mark, which is really great. You just gotta watch it yourself because I'm not gonna watch you. But when I watched Conquest, I was so freaked out about him because how crazy and how not really manipulative, how deranged he is in the mind and in his own physique. He's both a Viltrumite and an outsider of a Viltrumite. It's like he belongs and not belongs to his own people. And that's it. He died. Even though it was the fight was great, and Mark literally defeated him. He was one of the strongest Viltrumite. I can't wait to see him I can't wait to see Omni-Man you killed Conquest? Wow. I could have never done that myself because he is pretty scary. So yeah, that's it. Conquest was pretty awesome. And I guess that's basically for all my reviews. That's it for Invincible Season 3. I guess that's all I have to say. I would say a lot more, but I'm not a not a TV show reviewer. I just watch it and I really want to show it. I won't make a Season 1, 2 analytics on Invincible Season 1 or 2. Maybe at some point or maybe not. But anyways, yeah, so Invincible is a must watch. You've gotta watch it. It's pretty cool. It's peak. The story's great. If you're reading the comics, then I guess it's okay. But I just want to watch the animation. I'm not reading the comics at all. I only have problem with the animation. I'm hoping and praying that people get paid better and good, and I hope it gets the love and attention it deserves because a lot of hardworking people work for this. So, anyways, yeah, that's it. Invincible Season 3. Let's scale it. I don't know. I guess this was pretty great other than the other seasons of Season 1 to 2. I'm gonna give this an 8.7, which is not that much, but I'm guessing I'll just have to give it a 9 out of 10. This is a great. If they top this, then I don't know what to score it. Probably a 10. It's impossible to get a 10, but I guess it will work depending on if the animation gets good and the story keeps getting consistent. I guess that's about it. See ya.